Welcome back everybody, my name is Nick930 and this is my review for Rockstar's latest online multiplayer experience, Red Dead Online. Red Dead Online is a large open-world multiplayer experience built using the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. Players can either explore the world alone or posse up with friends as they complete a string of cooperative missions, escort quests, and a large assortment of competitive open-world activities, all while earning in-game revenue and spending it on vanity items like clothing, horses, and weapons. But while the experience might look like a multiplayer version of Red Dead Redemption 2, the vibe I got when playing was more in line with Rockstar's previous multiplayer experience, Grand Theft Auto Online, and I'm not quite sure it meshes as well with the late 1890s setting. But first, let's take a look at the story. In Red Dead Online, players take on the role of an unnamed convict, who is broken out of prison transport and recruited by a Mrs. Leclerc, a wealthy widow who wants to avenge her husband's death. The main storyline to the online experience is surprisingly more narrative-driven than I would have expected from an online experience, with an actual goal in mind outside of just ranking up your character and grinding for expensive items. The cutscenes are of the same quality as the single-player experience, and while the characters themselves aren't necessarily as interesting as the members of Dutch's gang, they're still voiced well and fit in nicely with the experience. What I don't like though is that many of these story-related missions require that you play cooperatively, putting massive roadblocks into the storyline if you plan on tackling these missions alone. You can always matchmake in the lobby of these missions similar to Grand Theft Auto Online's heist or contact missions, but just like that experience, you're more often than not stuck playing with complete imbeciles, who will find every way they can to ruin the objective, and rage quit at the first sign of a difficulty spike. The missions themselves are actually very well made, and feel like any other mission available in the single-player experience. They often involve you or your posse attacking an enemy position, stealing something like horses, equipment, or even kidnapping an individual with a hog tie. Each mission will give the player experience towards their rank, and some money to spend however they wish. Upon completing these missions, players will then be returned to an open-world free roam lobby, similar to Grand Theft Auto Online, and that's when the real chaos begins. Red Dead Online's free roam lobbies are a complete cluster of outlaws riding around on horseback shooting anyone they see. While this may not seem like a surprise to those who have played GTA Online, I feel like it's even worse in this game, mainly because of the much wider open level design and simple lack of things to do. While I appreciate the ability to roleplay with your friends and ride around the Wild West, hunting animals and robbing people, the experience just doesn't seem to carry over as well to the multiplayer setting. Players don't seem to be as interested in the simple activities like hunting or exploring as they are in killing random players, being killed and respawning nearby endlessly for several minutes at a time. If you are looking for something to do, you can always talk to a stranger in the world and take on various jobs, either involving protecting an NPC or stealing something of value. But just like the open world missions introduced late in the life of GTA Online, these stranger missions are designed to be competitive experiences with nearby players in the free roam lobby. As soon as I began escorting this wagon across the countryside with an NPC driver telling me a nice story, a band of players rode up and proceeded to kill everyone and try to steal the wagons away. This prompted a 5-minute back and forth of players spawning and killing the other player trying to climb slowly into the wagon. It feels like a mission that ideally would function correctly had I started it with a full posse of friends, all defending multiple points around the convoy, but instead was a complete lost cause that I ended up walking away from entirely to find something else to do. But that's it, there's not really much else to do, at least not by yourself. Outside of hunting random creatures in the world and selling their meat to a nearby butcher, the world of Red Dead Online feels pretty lackluster. You can't interact with NPCs outside of aiming a gun at them and chasing after witnesses to your crimes. However, there is plenty to do with other players. There's almost always a free roam event active, and the player base, curious as to what everything does, is more than willing to join in, making for some insanely populated areas of the map. One public event I participated in, a free-for-all King of the Hill, was a complete disaster, as players would spawn in and shoot each other in the back as they awkwardly sprinted towards a tiny circle on the minimap, to try and earn points for holding the objective. The game's default auto-aim lobbies makes this competitive experience absolutely ridiculous, as there's no way to avoid being killed if your player marker appears on another player's minimap. Combat with other players often involves holding the aim button, pushing the right joystick slightly forward to aim at their head, and killing them instantly. But it won't matter how well you fight, as the enemy tends to spawn in directly behind you every time. I think this public event in particular would have been more enjoyable had only a handful of players participated. But with 32 players all running around this small town, it was absolute chaos. If you're looking for a bit more structure to your competitive activities, there's separate multiplayer modes that were probably the most enjoyable aspect of the online experience so far. Just like in GTA Online, you can enter lobbies dedicated specifically to various deathmatch modes and races, with host players setting various match options and players waiting in a very similar matchup screen. Red Dead Online's competitive modes seem to have taken some creative inspiration from the design of GTA Online's many adversary modes, with unique concepts very rarely seen in the multiplayer space. The mode I played the most was a competitive deathmatch mode, where the player would earn more points per kill depending on how difficult the weapon was to use. A rifle, for example, would only earn you 1 point per kill, whereas a tomahawk can earn you up to 6. It was a lot of fun, despite the awkward combat controls and poor competitive map design, and I managed to move up the leaderboard quickly when I realized that spamming the double barrel shotgun for 3 points per kill ended up being the most efficient weapon. In addition to these deathmatch style modes, there's also a horse racing mode that feels like a strange 1890s Mario Kart. Players will bring their own horse into the race and will need to maintain their stamina while also running over barrels in the middle of the track to equip various weapons and boosts. It's a very interesting idea, though controlling a horse and trying to avoid being shot in the back will definitely take more time to perfect. All of these activities will earn you money and XP towards ranking up, which all can be used towards making your character look less ridiculous. But here's where the biggest problems with the online experience begin to surface. Red Dead Online's economy is terribly designed at the moment. The prices of items are way too high, and the amount of money earned from missions or competitive events is far too low. Even winning first place in a highly populated free-for-all deathmatch didn't earn me enough money to buy something as simple as a hat for my character, let alone the insane amount of negligible customization that can be done to your horse, camp, and weapons. This, on top of the gold bars, secondary currency, all feels clearly designed to nickel and dime the player base with microtransactions, an issue that plagued GTA Online in its later years. And that's really the best way to sum up Red Dead Online. The entire online experience feels like an obnoxious attempt to sucker players out of more of their money by encouraging them to take monetary shortcuts to unlock very basic items to help give them not only a cooler appearance, but also a significant edge with various weapons. Sure, you still need to earn XP to unlock the more advanced weapons, but that doesn't change the fact that the weapons still need to be purchased and upgraded, giving players with deeper wallets a clear advantage. What's worse is that because of this added gold option for players, Rockstar seems to be hesitant in adding other fundamental activities to the online experience, including poker, blackjack, and dominoes, some of which were made available with later updates to Red Dead Redemption 1's multiplayer experience. This semi-pay-to-win model, coupled with the lackluster open-world experience and sloppy competitive multiplayer, makes Red Dead Online fail to meet its full potential. I expected a more role-playing Wild West experience, more in line with the masterful design of the game's single-player. But instead, what we have here is a new expansion to Grand Theft Auto Online's multiplayer with even less to do and more garbage to grind for. The silver lining here is that Grand Theft Auto Online also released in a pretty hollow state, and has since grown into an experience that, while not as narratively deep as GTA 5, has significantly more content and activities. It's possible Red Dead Online will evolve similarly, but early signs point to this experience turning into even more of a repetitive grind. But what do you guys think? Have you been enjoying Red Dead Online? What part of the experience has been your favorite so far? Let me know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this posted every week.